BigHit idols were reported to ICE while being in the US, and now fans fear the worst. Jimin was snubbed by the VMAs and why he and the rest of BTS skipped attending the show. A reporter disrespected Jungkook, who was clearly offended. Korean media outlet throws shade at BTS in what fans believe is a clear attempt to create division between idols. And people are alarmed about RM's mental health struggle, which is not something anyone should dismiss. He admitted he tries every day not to lose in front of the depression. Watch until the end because you need to hear this. A reporter disrespected Jungkook and he was clearly offended. On September 11th, something small but powerful happened at Incheon Airport, and it's got a lot of people talking. BTS members Jungkook and J-Hope were getting ready to fly to the United States for work. As always, reporters and photographers were waiting to catch a glimpse of them before takeoff. But instead of focusing on the group's upcoming projects, one reporter asked Jungkook a personal question that quickly set off a firestorm online. As the two idols made their way through the terminal, the reporter called out to Jungkook and asked if he had lost a lot of weight. Jungkook didn't speak, but responded by crossing his arms in an X, a gesture commonly used in Korea to say no. But the reporter didn't stop there. They asked again, "No, you didn't lose any?" Jungkook just shrugged and kept walking. That was all it took to spark anger among fans. To many people online, it felt like the reporter had crossed a line. The setting was public, cameras were everywhere, and Jungkook clearly didn't want to answer. Fans felt the question was too personal and completely inappropriate for that moment. All over social media, people began criticizing the reporter. Many fans said the comment was unprofessional and disrespectful. One fan said they wished reporters would stop asking Jungkook about his weight altogether. They said it was annoying and none of the media's business. They added that Jungkook looked strong and healthy, and they were glad he didn't seem to care about the question. Others pointed out that this isn't just about one moment. It's part of a bigger problem. A lot of fans feel that idols, especially male ones like Jungkook, are often put in uncomfortable positions where they're expected to answer deeply personal questions. Some even warned that questions like this can promote toxic beauty standards and damage mental health, even for global stars. Even though Jungkook didn't say anything out loud, fans thought his shrug said it all. To them, that small gesture was a clear message. The identity of the reporter hasn't been shared publicly, but videos of the moment quickly spread across social media. Fans translated what was said and posted it online, where it's now being widely discussed. Korean media outlet throws shade at BTS in what fans believe is a clear attempt to create division between idols. On September 7th, Blackpink's Rosé made history by winning Song of the Year at the MTV Video Music Awards with her song APT. It was a huge moment, not just for her, but for K-pop as a whole. She became the first solo K-pop artist ever to win in that category, which is one of the most competitive awards at the show. Fans around the world were thrilled, and news outlets everywhere were quick to cover her big win. But while most of the coverage focused on celebrating Rosé, one article from a well-known South Korean newspaper caught people's attention for the wrong reasons. Instead of putting Rosé's name front and center, the headline they chose mentioned BTS. It read, "Even BTS missed out on MTV's Song of the Year. Blackpink's Rosé wins with APT, a first for K-pop." That headline immediately sparked a backlash. People weren't upset at Rosé. They were upset that her achievement was being compared to BTS. Many believed the article made it seem like Rosé's win was only impressive because BTS hadn't done it yet, rather than letting it stand on its own. The article quickly spread online after someone posted it on the popular Korean forum, The Coup. While many users were busy congratulating Rosé, they also made it clear they didn't like the way the headline was written. One person wondered why the article had to bring up BTS at all. Fans from both fandoms seemed to agree that the headline was unnecessary. They pointed out that BTS had never made a big deal about not winning Song of the Year, nor had they ever acted like it was something they deserved by default. In fact, BTS has often praised other K-pop artists for their accomplishments. That's why so many people felt this kind of comparison was forced and could create drama where there really wasn't any. This incident is part of a larger pattern that K-pop fans have been noticing for a while: media headlines that try to stir up competition between artists. Even when the article itself is positive, the title can shift the focus and change how people see the story. Many fans believe this kind of reporting can take attention away from the real achievement and turn a celebration into controversy. As of now, the media outlet hasn't changed the headline or responded to the criticism. In some sad news, Jimin was snubbed by the VMAs and why he and the rest of BTS skipped attending the show. The 2025 MTV Video Music Awards were meant to be a night of celebration, especially for K-pop fans around the world. But instead of joy, many BTS fans walked away from the event feeling angry, frustrated, and deeply disappointed, all because of what happened with Jimin. Jimin's solo track Who had been nominated for Best K-pop, one of the most competitive categories of the night. Fans had spent weeks voting. They shared links, made graphics, posted daily reminders, and genuinely believed that Jimin had a real shot at winning. With his popularity, talent, and global influence, many were convinced this would be his moment. But when the winner was announced and it wasn't Jimin, the excitement quickly turned to confusion. Social media platforms were flooded with posts from fans who couldn't believe it. One fan said they were furious and felt like all the effort they had put into voting had been for nothing. Others admitted they were starting to wonder if the voting had been real at all. Some fans pointed out that this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Earlier in the year, Jimin had lost the iHeart fan vote too, which also relied on fan participation. Now, with the VMAs result added to that, people started asking hard questions. Did everyone really vote like they said they would? Was Jimin as supported as everyone claimed? Or worse, was something going on behind the scenes? As the anger grew, more serious accusations started to surface. Some fans said it felt like the organizers had changed the outcome, even if Jimin had received enough votes. They said that if producers or industry insiders could override the fan vote, then what was the point of voting at all? It didn't feel like just a loss. It felt like a betrayal. Others demanded answers from the VMAs. They wanted to know exactly how the votes were counted, how much of the final decision came from fans, and how much came from behind closed doors. Was the system fair? Was it transparent? For many, this wasn't just about an award. It was about trust. Fans weren't just disappointed. They were starting to feel like their voices didn't matter. The debate didn't stop there. The situation also brought up a bigger question. What even counts as K-pop anymore? Some fans wondered if Who was seen as too different from the traditional sound of K-pop. Others pushed back, saying Jimin is K-pop, no matter what kind of music he makes, and that the emotional impact of his song should have been enough to earn recognition. Fans are alarmed about RM's mental health struggle, which is not something anyone should dismiss. According to RM, he tries every day not to lose in front of the depression, and that quiet confession has left fans genuinely concerned. Back in August 2023, RM opened up about life in a very honest way. He answered questions from fans, talked about his struggles, and gave advice that felt personal and sincere. When one fan asked him what advice he would give to high school graduates, his answer was unexpected and funny. Life is a soup and I'm a fork. It made people laugh at first, but the more they thought about it, the more it made sense. Life can feel like you're being handed the wrong tools to handle difficult situations, but you keep trying anyway. The quote quickly spread online. Fans turned it into posters, phone wallpapers, and even tattoos. It was a simple phrase that felt weirdly relatable. Then the mood shifted. Another fan asked him how he handles things when life gets hard. RM didn't pretend to have it all together. He admitted that he struggles too and doesn't always know what to do. But one phrase keeps him going. Done is better than perfect. He explained that when everything feels overwhelming, he just gets up, even if he doesn't feel ready. He doesn't wait for the perfect moment, he just takes action. He said sometimes all he can do is wake up and move forward. That kind of honesty meant a lot to fans. RM has always been open about mental health. He's talked about exhaustion, anxiety, and the pressure to constantly perform. In the past, he said he tries every day not to lose in front of the depression and getting exhausted. He never pretends that he's figured everything out. He just shares the small ways he keeps going, and fans appreciate that. Later in the live stream, he listened to a fan-made song called Love Letters, which thanked BTS for helping fans learn to love themselves. As the lyrics played, RM got quiet. Then he admitted something that surprised many people. I don't even know how to love myself still, so I'm happy if you guys got it. That one line brought tears to fans' eyes. Even after everything he's achieved, RM was still honest about the fact that he's learning too. Over the years, RM has said many things that stuck with people. He once talked about making mistakes and how he wants to believe that the current version of himself, even with regrets and flaws, is still the best version of him. He said that happiness isn't just something you achieve at the end of a goal, but something you can feel during the process. He doesn't believe you have to live life fiercely all the time, even if the world tells you to dream big. He shared that he chooses to believe there's a reason for being placed in difficult times, even if that reason isn't clear yet. And he's encouraged people to speak yourself, no matter who they are, where they come from, or what their identity is. These aren't polished motivational quotes from a book. They're things he's figured out while navigating his own life. Things he says as someone still searching for answers. RM doesn't speak like a celebrity trying to impress. He speaks like a person trying to understand the world and inviting others to do the same. That's why his livestream meant so much. It reminded fans that the person they admire isn't just talented, he's real. He struggles, he doubts himself, and he keeps going anyway. And somehow, that makes everything he says feel even more powerful. How V's beloved dog, small and sick from the start, changed the BTS fandom forever. Recently, something special happened across the world. It would have been Yeontan's 8th birthday, and although he passed away in late 2024, BTS fans chose to celebrate his memory in a way that truly mattered. Instead of just posting pictures or messages online, they made real donations to animal shelters and rescue groups in Yeontan's name. All over the world, fans turned love into action. Yeontan wasn't just any dog. For millions of people, he was known as the 8th member of BTS. V never hid how much Yeontan meant to him. In a year-end interview from 2021, he was asked who he'd write a thank you card to. He chose Yeontan. He admitted his dog had been sick from the beginning, but he was thankful for how hard Yeontan tried to stay alive. He hoped they could keep making memories, and said he wanted to see adult Tan someday. In December 2024, V shared heartbreaking news on Instagram. He wrote, "Tan has recently embarked on a long journey to the dog star." Fans knew what that meant. Yeontan had passed away. The internet lit up with tributes, fan art, emotional messages, and memories. Even people outside of the BTS fandom noticed. Major outlets mentioned Yeontan in articles, calling him one of the most famous pets in the world. So when his birthday came around for the first time since his passing, fans didn't want to just mourn. They wanted to do something that reflected the way Yeontan had made them feel, loved, warm, and inspired. That's why hashtags like Forever with Yeontan and Tanny started trending worldwide. But fans didn't stop there. They donated to the RSPCA, a well-known animal rescue organization that helps sick, injured, and abandoned animals get the care they need. In Spain, a group gave to the Vegan Sanctuary Foundation, the country's first big animal protection group. They said they wanted to honor Yeontan's memory by helping animals who, like him, needed a second chance. In India, fans made a donation to the AWCS Foundation. This money went directly to help animals affected by recent flooding in the region. Animals that had lost their homes, just like people do during disasters. In Brazil, fans helped a shelter that takes in abandoned and mistreated animals. Although the exact amount of money donated hasn't been confirmed, it's believed that the total across all these groups added up to tens of thousands of dollars. But for most fans, the money wasn't the point. The goal was to make sure that Yeontan's name lived on, and that his legacy helped animals in real need. Yeontan might not be here anymore, but he's still making the world a better place. These donations didn't just help dogs and cats. They helped people remember that kindness matters, that small lives are important, that even one dog with a fragile body and a huge heart can inspire thousands of others to do good. BigHit singer reported to ICE while being in the US. Just before TXT was about to perform their first ever concert in the United States, something shocking happened online that made people realize how quickly a joke can turn into something dangerous. Someone on social media tried to report Jimin, the leader of TXT, to US immigration authorities. They falsely claimed that he was in the country without legal permission and should be deported. The original post didn't stay up for long, it was deleted soon after, but not before other users took screenshots and shared them everywhere. That one post started heated arguments between fan groups, and some even tried copying the same tactic by targeting other K-pop idols. At first, it might have seemed like a dumb prank, the kind you expect during a fan war. But what made this so serious was what had just happened in real life. On September 4th, just days before the post about Subin appeared, ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, carried out a major immigration raid at a Hyundai factory in Georgia. They were acting on a tip about unlawful practices at the facility. The result? Around 300 South Korean workers were detained. Many of them were in the U.S. legally, with valid work visas. Despite this, some were locked up for several days. That's why the fake tip-off about Subin wasn't just a petty stunt. It came right after an actual immigration raid that showed just how flawed the system could be. A lot of people online called the post disturbing and dangerous. They said this wasn't fan drama anymore. It was playing with someone's legal status and safety. Many pointed out that making fake immigration reports could lead to real consequences, like detainment, investigations, or even deportation, even if the person has done nothing wrong. So far, there's no sign that ICE acted on the claim about Subin. No investigation was reported, and TXT's tour in the US went ahead as planned. But fans and critics alike were shaken by how easily something like this could happen, especially when immigration enforcement in the US is already facing heavy criticism for civil rights violations. As news of the prank spread through fan communities, even people who weren't fans of TXT said the same thing. This went too far. Many felt that using immigration authorities as a weapon in a fan fight was not only reckless, it was dangerous. Some called on social media platforms to ban users who make these kinds of false reports. Others said that anyone who does this should face legal action. The person who made the original post hasn't been identified. But what they did sparked a much bigger conversation. It showed how something that starts online, even as a so-called joke, can cross over into the real world and possibly cause serious harm. Subin hasn't commented on the situation, neither has TXT's management. For now, their tour is going on as planned. BigHit founder interrogated by police. On September 15th, Bang PD, the man who founded HYBE and helped turn BTS into global names, was being questioned by the Seoul police. He's been asked to appear at the Financial Crimes Investigation Unit in Mapo, a district in Seoul, and it's expected to be a high-profile moment. The investigation has to do with something that happened years ago, back when HYBE was still a rising company known as BigHit Entertainment. Authorities believe Bang may have broken South Korea's Capital Markets Act, a law that's meant to protect investors and keep the stock market fair and honest. At the heart of the case is a group of early investors, mainly venture capital firms, who were encouraged to sell their shares in HYBE. But here's where things get complicated. Police say these investors were told to sell to a special purpose company, or SPC, which was presented as just another business deal. In reality, that SPC may have been tied to a private equity fund connected to Bang himself, either directly or indirectly. If this turns out to be true, then what looked like a regular investment move might have actually been a way for Bang and his inner circle to gain more control over HYBE by moving shares into hands they secretly controlled. That kind of behavior falls under securities fraud, a serious crime in South Korea. And depending on the level of damage caused, Bang could face at least 5 years in prison, or even life in prison if the court sees it as a major offense. While we don't have the exact dollar amount involved, experts estimate that the investment rounds during HYBE's early days could have added up to tens of millions of dollars. It's not surprising, considering how quickly the company grew and how many investors wanted in before the company went public. When HYBE finally did go public in 2020, it was valued at more than $4 billion. Since then, it's become one of South Korea's biggest entertainment empires, owning multiple labels, signing global partnerships, and even expanding into tech, fashion, and gaming. Bang PD was the architect behind it all. Even after stepping down as CEO in 2021, he stayed on as the company's chairman and largest shareholder. That's why this investigation matters so much. It doesn't just affect one person. It could shake up a company that plays a major role in South Korea's economy and pop culture. Bang hasn't made any public statements about the investigation, and HYBE has stayed quiet too. But the public is paying close attention, especially fans and investors who want to know what this could mean for the company's future. If Bang is charged or found guilty, it could lead to major changes inside HYBE, from its leadership structure to how it handles future deals. The investigation began earlier this year after whistleblowers raised concerns, and audit teams noticed irregularities in how certain shares were moved around. Since then, police have been tracking down documents, reviewing past transactions, and preparing for this round of questioning. So far, no official charges have been filed, and Bang is still a free man. But now that he's been called in for questioning, the spotlight is on him. What happens next could decide not just his future, but the future of the entertainment empire he built.